As he works to win the Republican Party nomination for the third straight election, his rhetoric and positions are becoming even more extreme. We're talking about Donald Trump, and that's according to a new Washington Post analysis, which reviewed 8 years of the former president's comments so voters can see the differences. And joining us now, the authors of that piece, Washington Post national reporter Isaac Arnsdorf. And we appreciate you coming on the show, at least. And let's talk about what the project really looks at. One example, of course, is the infamous Access Hollywood tape back in 2016. What are some of the other examples?
Well, we looked at a number of issues, January 6th, immigration, both rhetorical and policy-oriented. And it's one of these things where, you know, it happens gradually over a number of years, so you might not notice it while it's happening. But when you take like for like and you look at him talking about the same issue and you compare that across the years, it's really striking what you notice, how he has dug in and doubled down and, you know, starting with positions that have been divisive and controversial and pushing them even further to become more extreme now than he was in his previous campaigns.
So let's look at one of these contrasts you're writing about. This is the Access Hollywood tape. What then candidate Donald Trump said about it in 2016 and what he had to say about the tape just this month.
You bragged that you have sexually assaulted women. Do you understand that?
No, I didn't say that at all. I don't think you understood what was said. This was locker room talk. I'm not proud of it. I apologize to my family. I apologize to the American people. Certainly, I'm not proud of it, but this is locker room talk.
There was a tape deposition of you from October in it. You defended the comments that you made on that Access Hollywood tape about being able to grab women how you want. Do you stand by those comments?
I said if you're famous and rich or whatever I said, but I said if you're a star, you are, and I said, women let you. I didn't say you grab. I said women let. You know, you didn't use that word. But if you look, women let you. Now, they said, will you take that back? I said, look, for a million years, this is the way it's been. I want to be honest. This is the way it's been. I can take it back if you'd like to. But if you're a famous person, if you're a star, and I'm not referring to myself, I'm saying people that are famous, people that are
you
stars,
were asked in the deposition,
people that are rich,
to be a star,
people that are powerful.
Yes.
They tend to do pretty well in a lot of different ways, okay? And you would like me to take that back? I can't take it back because it happens to be true. I said it's been true for 1 million years, approximately 1 million years, perhaps a little bit longer than that.
So you stand by those comments?
Well, I don't want to lie.
Mr. President,
here's what she wants me to say.
Let's get to the audience questions tonight.
A rich and famous person has no advantage over anyone else. Well, you do have an advantage. And I say unfortunately, but that's the way it is.
You said fortunately or unfortunately.
Well, fortunately or unfortunately for her.
So, Isaac, as we watch that contrast, as Donald Trump just keeps boring in deeper on that and says, unfortunately or fortunately, he says that men can do that when they're famous. What is the reason for sort of the escalation that you write about in his radicalism? Is he just unchained and believes he can do whatever he wants, given that he was elected president behaving that way?
Yeah, so there are a few things going on here. One is that, you know, he doesn't have the whole apparatus of the White House around him anymore. He's sort of less filtered with just a smaller campaign team. And so we're maybe hearing more directly from him than we have in a while. Another thing is that there are all these accumulated grievances from his 7 years in politics. And you're hearing how that intensifies. You know, it started with a witch hunt and it gets to be more and more and more. And that's a journey that he and his supporters have been on together. You know, you hear the people laughing in the audience at that clip. And that really struck me about a lot of these clips, how his supporters are with him on this trajectory. And the last thing that I would point out about this is a pattern that he's established of sort of boomeranging, where, you know, when he does something that causes a lot of public outrage, he will sometimes sort of walk it back and try to smooth it over. But he hates apologizing. He views it as showing weakness. And so with the passage of a little bit more time, he'll come back and take an even harder line and really double down on it and go even further than he did in the first place.
So, Mika, let's just go through the timeline of just this. And there's so many different issues that we can talk about here. But in 2016, we heard him say in the debate that he was sorry. He's sorry that he had said that he could grab women. Then in the depot, he said, well, stars do it. Unfortunately, and he goes, or fortunately, and then asked, are you a star? And he goes, yeah, of course I'm a star. And then he goes, and then he takes it a step further. First of all, trying to lie about saying fortunately at CNN, at the CNN town hall meeting. But then he said, well, when you're stars for millions of years, he says this in relation to sexual harassment and abuse of women.
Yeah.
And stars getting away with it. He goes, well, quote, they do well. People do well. He defines being able to sexually harass a woman as, quote, people doing well, being able to do well, being able to get away with that.
Listen, and in the process of sort of waffling in real time on these things from one end to the other, he normalizes things. I mean, nobody is questioning Willie whether or not he had an affair with Stormy Daniels, a porn star, a Playboy model, and a number of other women. Nobody cares that there's video of him dancing all sweaty with Jeffrey Epstein. He normalizes the worst behavior.
And he's generally excused by his supporters for it. They sort of rationalize it away. Another example that Isaac's writing about is Donald Trump's rhetoric about migrant families, first as president with policy, and now more recently.
We want security for our country. The Republicans want security and insist on security for our country, and we will have that. At the same time, we have compassion. We want to keep families together. It's very important.
Another immigration policy you had was the zero-tolerance immigration policy that separated families at the border. If you are reelected, are you ruling out instituting that?
Well, when you have that policy, people don't come. If the family hears that they're going to be separated, they love their family. They don't come. So I know it sounds harsh, but if you remember they said I was building prisons for children. It turned out that it was Obama that was building the prisons for the children.
But would you re-implement that if you're reelected? Is that what you're saying?
We have to save our country, all right?
So it sounds like that's a yes.
No. When you say to a family that if you come, we're going to break you up, they don't come. And we can't afford to have any more.
So, Isaac, in conclusion, as we watch all these clips, and there are a whole bunch more that you write about and people should read the piece, is it reasonable to expect that it's just going to continue to get worse from here, that there are no guardrails anymore, nothing holding him back?
I think we can take his word for that. He has been very explicit that with a second-term agenda, he intends to finish what he started, pick up where he left off, and push even further on some of the most divisive issues. In addition to the example you just played, he's talked about how in the summer of 2020, he let the governors and local officials lead on the law enforcement response to the civil unrest, and he really regrets that now. And if he were back in the White House in the future, he would be more aggressive about deploying federal forces and even the military in response.
National reporter for the Washington Post. Fascinating piece, Isaac Arnsdorf. Isaac, thanks so much for being here. We appreciate it.
Thank you.